What's popping? It's been a while since we've done a review. 2 months to be exact. This time we are talking about the show that came out 30 years ago. Batman the Animated Series is considered by many the greatest cartoon of all time. And I can't really consider myself a fan of Batman or a film without watching this. There's a video game based off of this, bros. So I am here to give you my take on it, and if it deserves the hype that it gets. Before we start, I just wanted to say that you should subscribe, help balance the ratio. Let it begin! So I'm gonna be honest with you. The first 8 episodes don't hold up at all. It is very bad. The animation is slow and out of pace, the fight scenes suck, and the worst of all, the words aren't synced with their mouths. It's like watching a dubbed anime. They also didn't have good stories and they were all boring. I can see that they tried, but it was lacking. I honestly thought about not watching the rest of the show because these episodes were so bad, with the exception of episode 6 because it ended up being important later, but at the time of watching it, it was just super boring and I did not care. I thought this was going to be the whole show, and it was disappointing until I got to episode 9. Episode 9 saved the show in my opinion, because everything I had a problem with got fixed! The words match the mouths, the animation is better, the story is actually good, and it introduced Poison Ivy and set up Two-Face for later episodes. Man, this episode was so good! It was the first actually good episode of the show. Well done, Bruce Timm. The episode set up like what the rest of the show was going to look like in terms of format of the episodes. As the show ran for longer, the animation would become more fluent. You could also see that the animation gets better in the follow-up, The New Adventures of Batman. Batman the Animated Series also didn't turn away from using more boring characters like Condiment King or Daggett. I also can't forget to mention that this is the show that introduced the most overrated character in the history of comic books. It seemed to focus a lot more on the villains than Batman himself, which was a little bit disappointing. I feel like the perfect example of a balance of Batman himself and a mixture of villains is The Batman. That show is great too, but you know, gotta talk about that later. Also, season 6 falls off a little bit. Also found Batman and Bruce Wayne kind of like switched roles, because Bruce himself is like super serious for some reason, then Batman was a troll. He even did the funny Sonic finger wag. Now I know that this show was the fuel behind the Lego Batman movie, because it's basically just a parody of this. I know it sounds like I'm knocking this a lot, but I actually really enjoyed it. I don't feel super attached to it though, because back then they didn't really have finales or like an overarching story, so it was just like turn on the TV and you watch the episode. You didn't really miss anything. I mean, also it kind of was open-ended because Bruce Timm made the first like cartoon universe, starting with Batman the Animated Series, going to The New Adventures of Batman, then Superman the Animated Series, Justice League, and then Justice League Unlimited, plus movies in between there like The Killing Joke. Editor's note here, you need to read the 3 Jokers comic book because it basically confirms that The Killing Joke is canon in the DC comic book universe. Pretty cool. All in all, I would say that this show still holds up 30 years later, but I don't think it's the greatest cartoon of all time like everybody says it is. I just think that it's mostly nostalgia for more the older folk. I do think it's impressive that it was the highest rating cartoon for a while until these two showed up. Go check out Batman the Animated Series on HBO Max, which also comes with The New Adventures of Batman as season 3 in the bundle. I guess that was part of the deal with Warner Brothers or whatever. Until next time, friends!